You guys, today, CaitlinClark got fined $200. Kathy, what do you think you are accomplishing by that? What kind of message do you think you're accomplishing by doing? You're not even making an example out of her by fining her an exorbitant amount of money. You are literally making a joke out of yourself by fining her such a...
The WNBA is embroiled in another contentious issue that highlights the league's flawed leadership. This time, it's not about missed calls or biased officiating at games. The league is punishing its best star for pointing out apparent problems.
We know how this works because Sophie Cunningham has told us how this works. If you talk about the refereeing, if you talk about the officiating on the InstaFace, on the TikToks, on the Twitters, any of that social media, in the public, in the interview, if you mouth it in the shower, Kathy Engelbert will peek in and look around at you and point at you and be like, you're fined. Even though she won't clean up the officiating in her trash-ass league? Okay.
CaitlinClark, the Indiana Fever's guard who has redefined women's basketball, was fined $200 for posting refs on Instagram following her team's playoff victory against the Atlanta Dream.
During the game, we saw here, the Fever players celebrating. I would assume based on the reaction that this was after the Lexi Hull steal and everything. And CaitlinClark on Instagram commented this: refs couldn't stop us. Elite bench mob. It wasn't for the lack of trying. Glad they're having fun and celebrating like no other teams. Will she get fined for saying that? Yeah, she got fined.
The timing is ideal for this revelation. The WNBA decides to use its administrative power against Clark, just as the Fever are making their deepest playoff run in a decade, shocking the basketball world by defeating the Las Vegas Aces in Game 1 of the semifinals despite being huge underdogs.
The WNBA's time, or the NFL's time, or the NBA's time, getting fined when you're on their time, criticizing the officials, calling out the officiating. I've seen players get fined for that. But when you're on your own time, well, now, other than Sophie Cunningham, CaitlinClark seems to be the two players that come to my mind of players getting fined, criticizing the officials, doing it on their own time, quote unquote, off the...
Commissioner Kathy Engelbert and her staff are scrutinizing social media posts and enforcing minor fines for forwarding remarks that acknowledge what everyone already knows, rather than praising the wonderful narratives unfolding from the playoffs.
It is real. The hate is real, Kathy. I see you hating on us from a mile away, Kathy Engelbert. We all see it. You out here trying to find CaitlinClark. You out here finding the one person who's actually bringing money into this league. What a joke. You're mad that the Indiana Fever are here right now. Y'all didn't expect us to get this far. Y'all really didn't expect it. We got Sophie Cunningham exposing the whole league agenda. Exposing them. CaitlinClark mocking them all on Twitter, all on Instagram, everywhere. Because
if you appreciate it, please subscribe. Let's be clear about what happened. Following the Fever's 87-85 victory against Atlanta in Game 3 of their first-round series, Clark responded to her team's official Instagram post about their bench with two simple comments. The elite bench crowd and refs were unable to stop us. The WNBA's Thought Police imposed a $200 punishment for the second comment, which expressed what millions of fans had been saying throughout the season. The ridiculousness is stunning.
I'm pretty sure she just said the refs can't stop them celebrating. This isn't even her going at refs. It's literally like if you say the word refs and you're an Indiana Fever player, you're going to get fined. If you say the word refs as a Fever player, the word referees has to be spoken, cannot be said by an Indiana Fever player, otherwise it's a fine. And the worst part is if they got fined for celebrating. So I don't think, only she got fined, not everybody. There's other people on the floor. Everything. She's not, they're celebrating. The timeout's been called, or the foul's been called. It is what it is.
The league has enabled deliberate targeting of its greatest stars throughout the season. Despite acknowledging poor officiating, she is treated as if she has done a cardinal sin. But here's when it gets wild. Clark is not even participating in the playoffs. She has been sidelined since July due to a groin injury, which ended her second season after 13 games. The woman who brought unprecedented attention and cash to the WNBA, filling arenas and boosting television ratings to historic levels, is now watching from the bench as her colleagues continue on without her. Despite being unable to contribute on the floor, Clark faced repercussions from the WNBA for stating an obvious truth.
NBA definitely got to play these women more. You got to pay these women more. Because what the hell is a $200 fine? This picture right here is giving me Mom Made Pizza Rolls vibes. Mom Made Pizza Rolls and everybody. CaitlinClark was fined $200 for her comments she left on the IG post. She said refs couldn't stop us, meaning they advanced to the next round despite the refs trying to throw them a curveball every game, despite having to play against the refs. And the league said, "Oh hell nah, you gotta run me that. You gotta run me that 200. You got to run me that 200.
You have to run me that 200." Clark's remark reveals her stance on the harsh punishment in question. She received a $200 fine for her post on X, which included laughing emojis and a vow that the bench mob would be even more raucous tomorrow. Sophie Cunningham, Clark's teammate, mocked her by saying that the fine would be a financial burden and suggesting a GoFundMe campaign. Professional athletes mocked the league's ineffective intimidation tactics. And rightly so. The stats highlight the petty nature of the WNBA's penalty. Clark's annual pay is $78.66, but her endorsement contracts with Nike, Gatorade, and other major businesses are worth tens of millions of dollars. The fine amounts to around 0.007% of her estimated net worth. The league's message is more important than the amount of money involved. The WNBA is punishing players who report officiating issues, rather than addressing the root cause of the problem. The fact that Clark's comment was not contentious only adds to the frustration. She avoided addressing referees by name, using profanity, and making personal assaults. She observed that officials could not prevent her team from winning, which may be seen as a celebration of their perseverance and ability to overcome hardship. Despite the fact that the underlying issues that led to the comment remain unresolved, the league imposed sanctions.
Has got jokes. She retweeted this. That's really going to break the bank for her. Starting a GoFundMe now. Sophie, you got jokes. Hun, you got jokes. Yeah. So Sophie Cunningham Central, I'll donate.
Sophie has a sense of humor. She retweeted, "This will be quite expensive for her. Starting a GoFundMe campaign now." Sophie, do you have any jokes? You've got jokes. Oh yeah. Sophie Cunningham is central. I'll donate.
Rather than fining players for being excited on the bench and for letting it be known how trash your referees are, why don't you start fining referees for not calling fouls? Why don't you start putting that type of energy into making sure the game is played better? Why don't you do that? Why don't you do that? Because that would be nice. That would be nice if you could do that.
The timing of this fine highlights the WNBA's backwards priorities. Clark's squad was ready for their semi-final battle against the Las Vegas Aces, who had just watched star A'ja Wilson collect her 4th MVP award. Think about the optics here. Wilson, the league's most decorated active player, is being recognized for her accomplishments, while Clark, the league's most popular player, is facing a fine for minor criticism of refereeing. This situation exemplifies the WNBA's flaws. The larger backdrop makes this fine even more ridiculous. Officiating has caused frustration among players, coaches, and fans during the 2025 season. The league has mostly ignored the issue of poor refereeing, including the infamous Fever Sun incident that resulted in 5 technical penalties and 3 ejections, as well as numerous instances of uneven whistleblowing and missed calls. Multiple coaches have received fines for criticizing referees. The number of technical fouls among players has skyrocketed, leading to record crowd complaints.
What if this is the WNBA foreshadowing? We're seeing how you're acting on the bench. We're seeing how you're talking to the officials on the bench, we will tee you up. Now, whether I think that she deserves a tee for it or not, we're not even going to get into that. What if this is just saying, hey, we're going to tee you up if you continue to get at the officials, if you continue to talk up the officials, if you continue to show up the officials on the sideline, we're going to tee you up. We're not going to tee so.
Instead of addressing fundamental concerns, the WNBA continues to blame the messenger. Golden State coach Natalie Nikasi received a $10,000 for alleged officiating partiality. Fever coach Stephanie White has been criticizing rude officiating for months. Las Vegas coach Becky Hammond acknowledges poor calling in prior games, despite her team's favorable rulings. The trend is evident. Experts in basketball agree. However, instead of addressing the issue, the league focuses on identifying the culprits. The Indiana Fever's postseason performance without Clark makes the fine even more egregious. Despite missing 6 key players, including their star, this squad made it to the semifinals for the first time since 2015. After defeating the Atlanta Dream in a 3-game series, they astonished the basketball world by defeating the second-place Las Vegas Aces 89-73 on the road. Kelsey Mitchell's 34-point performance in Game 1 was the second most in Fever playoff history. Women's basketball should be celebrated for its resilience, teamwork, and diverse talent. The WNBA chose to find their biggest star after recognizing that officials couldn't stop their team's phenomenal run. The league's declared aims of growth and enhanced prominence are not met by this tone-deaf, petty behavior. The contrast to A'ja Wilson's situation is obvious. Wilson, who recently won her 4th MVP award, exemplifies the WNBA's desired image. She is a powerful player on the court, courteous in interviews, and avoids criticizing league operations. In the semifinals, Mitchell and the Fever bench, whom Clark had supported on Instagram, outperformed her Las Vegas teammates. Wilson shot inefficiently 6 out of 22, but the Fever dominated the game.